We move next to President Trump and what he said about North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Even amid rising tensions and the showdown with North Korea, the president now saying he, quote, would be honored to meet with the North Korean dictator. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl pressing the White House today, asking if the president really meant he'd be honored.
A stark warning today from President Trump on the threat posed by North Korea to U.S. troops in the region and beyond.
Well, nobody's safe. I mean, who's safe? The guy's got nuclear weapons. We're probably not safe over here. If he gets the long-range missiles, we're not safe either.
But despite his ominous tone, the president said he's open to the idea of meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. He tells Bloomberg that under what he called the right circumstances, quote, I would be honored to do it.
This is somebody who has starved his own people, somebody that has threatened to destroy the United States. Just last week, he put out a video showing the Capitol getting destroyed by North Korean fighters. How could he be honored to meet with Kim Jong-un?
The president understands the threat that North Korea poses, and he will do whatever is necessary under the right circumstances to protect our country from the threat that they pose.
But how could that be an honor?
I mean, Jonathan, I guess because he is still a head of state, so it is sort of there's a diplomatic piece to this.
But Sean Spicer also made it clear the conditions are nowhere near right for a meeting anytime soon. Not only has Kim recently released those videos showing the destruction of the Capitol and U.S. cities, there have been missile tests, preparations for a possible nuclear test, and now the USS Carl Vinson strike group is in the region and on high alert. Still, despite the heightened tension, Trump is offering some striking praise for the young dictator.
At a very young age, he was able to assume power. A lot of people, I'm sure, tried to take that power away, whether it was his uncle or anybody else. And he was able to do it. So obviously, he's a pretty smart cookie.
What did he mean when he called him one smart cookie or a pretty smart cookie?
He assumed power at a young age when his father passed away, and there was a lot of potential threats that could have come his way, and he's obviously managed to lead a country forward.
To guard against the North Korean threat, the president is also reaching out and offering kind words to another controversial Asian strongman, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, a man human rights groups say has committed crimes against humanity for an anti-drug campaign blamed for 7,000 murders. He once referred to President Obama as, quote, the son of a whore. He has a very high approval rating in the Philippines, Trump told Bloomberg, and after what the White House called a very friendly call, the president invited Duterte to the White House.
John Karl joined us tonight, and John, the president of the Philippines, not ready to commit, saying, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I can make it to the White House. But John, as you know, President Trump also raising eyebrows with something else he said today in another interview. The president speaking about his admiration for President Andrew Jackson, saying Jackson would have been able to prevent the Civil War. There were questions about this. Let's listen.
I mean, had Andrew Jackson been a little bit later, you wouldn't have had the Civil War. He was really angry that he saw what was happening with regard to the Civil War. He said there's no reason for this. If you think about it, why? People don't ask that question. But why was there the Civil War? Why could that one not have been worked out?
John, as you know, some historians are scratching their heads over this one.
Well, it's unclear how Andrew Jackson would have prevented the Civil War if he had been alive, and he actually died 16 years before the Civil War started. On the one hand, he was a strong advocate of the Union, but on the other hand, he was a Southerner, and David, he was an unapologetic slave owner.
John Karl with us live from the White House. John, thank you.